Hello there and welcome back to the Squirrel Heed YouTube channel, and welcome to the very first World Cup video that I'm making right now, because I felt like it was a good time to make one after we've had the very first 8 games of the tournament already. Obviously we kicked off with Russia versus Saudi Arabia on, was it Thursday? It was Thursday according to my notes. Thursday, and they smashed it 5-0. And a lot of people were like, let's say a lot of people, okay, we're going to say a lot of pundits and stuff like that. I'm going to get onto pundits and that in a little bit anyway, because a lot of them are doing my head in already. I say a lot of them, actually, it's actually more of a minority. Anyway, let's just skip past that. 5-0, Saudi Arabia, I think, were the second to lowest qualifier for this World Cup since it got expanded to, I think, 48 teams or something like that. Can't exactly remember the number. Anyway, doesn't matter. So they got beat 5-0 by the hosts, Russia, which is a magnificent result for Russia, and it should actually really catapult them to have a bit more confidence, I would say, going into the rest of this World Cup. I just think, while they may not be the most highest quality side in the World Cup, they should be buoyed by having such a positive result. Basically, one of the highest scoring results. Well, I think it's actually the second highest scoring result. We'll come on to that one a little bit later as well. Saudi Arabia, I'm not expecting anything from them. I don't think anybody else is, really. But when you hear the Saudi Arabian chief of football or something saying that their players are going to be punished in a nation that apparently still has problems with capital punishment. I say problems. Look, I don't know a great deal. I'm not going to pretend I know a great deal about Saudi Arabia as a country, as a nation, whatever. So when you hear people saying, oh, this could be capital punishment for the players, that's scary. That really is. But anyway, 5-0 to Russia. They kick off the World Cup in, some sort of style, but people were still critical. The media especially was still critical because it wasn't a high-quality game. Not every game in a World Cup is going to be high quality. It just isn't. It's like some games in the Premier League, in the Championship, in La Liga, Ligue 1, in all the leagues around the world. Not all of the games are high quality. And I tell you now, that France game, who was it? Was it France versus Australia? That was not a high quality game, and people are saying France, one of the most stylish, one of the most fantastic teams put together. That was, oh my God, I almost switched it off. Because it was so boring. The only reason I didn't is because I almost thought that Australia could nick that result. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Egypt versus Uruguay. Honestly, that was a contender for a sleep. I could have slept through that match. It was just, Egypt were defending a lot. Uruguay weren't taking their chances. Obviously, Salah wasn't fit for this game, and he was left on the bench, or he wasn't even allowed to be able to feature in this game because they had concerns over the fitness of his shoulder and stuff like that as well. So Uruguay, I think it was a defender, Raul Jimenez or something like that, whatever his name is, don't know his name, scored a header in like the 90-plus minute, 1-0 victory to Uruguay. And yeah, not a great deal to say about that game because it was honestly so lacking in quality. And seeing Suarez perform like that was, it was a bit gutting, to be honest. Because this is not normally how you would see Suarez playing. He hasn't had necessarily the best season with Barcelona this year, and he was just quite lackluster. When Cavani looked like the much better, much accurate, much more active striker, I should say, not accurate. But he was the much more active striker, the one that was actually trying to get on the end of chances and do something well. Suarez had a hell of a chance, and it hit the side netting, and everyone thought it went in, and it didn't. They've got a lot to do. I imagine that they'll make it out of the groups, but they've got a lot of work to do, in terms of actually getting Suarez up for these games, because he doesn't actually look up for it. He's not running about and chasing like he normally does either, or as we knew him at Liverpool anyway. So let's move on. Morocco versus Iran. The only thing I can remember from this game is the own goal header, which actually put Iran in front, and it was again another late goal. Because the Uruguay game, that was a late goal, 90-plus minutes. This was a late goal as well, Iran versus Morocco. Again, not much of note to take from that game. Both teams looked a little bit lacking in quality. Didn't look like any of them were really chasing the game hard. So, yeah. But then we've got to come on to probably game of the tournament so far. Portugal versus Spain, 3-3. And I've mentioned this before in a couple of videos, not a couple of videos, in the last video I made or something like that, I can't remember, about David De Gea. People already, comparing his mistakes to Karius and all this lot and stuff like that. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. One mistake does not define a career. And you look at the career David De Gea's had, he's got a pretty damn good career so far. One mistake like that he made, and they didn't lose the game because of that. They didn't lose the game, full stop. So him making that mistake, it's a bad mistake. Yes, it is, but it does not define the career. People saying that De Gea should... Apparently people on Twitter and like in Spain and that saying that David De Gea should be dropped for the next game. All right, do it. Honestly, if you don't want Spain to go through, do it. This is the goalkeeper that has managed to be the absolute brick wall for Manchester United for the last good few seasons that he's been there, when he's really properly developed. And he's been absolutely magnificent. I'm not a fan of praising a Man United player, but you've got to look at the evidence as it is. He is a fantastic goalkeeper. In my opinion, he's still the number one goalkeeper in the world until Manuel Neuer makes an appearance, and maybe even then, I'd still say that David De Gea is the best goalkeeper in the world. One mistake does not define a career. However, one performance like this seems to have already solidified Cristiano Ronaldo as the greatest football player of all time. I would contest that and say he's the greatest goal scorer of all time. I would not say he's the greatest footballer of all time. And even then, I would still say he's maybe number 2, something like that. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of different factors that go into it. But basically, one game for each of these players, and I'll get onto Argentina as well, but I might as well say it. This tournament has already turned into Messi versus Ronaldo. And that's bad, in my opinion. People focus on the fact that Ronaldo scored a hat-trick in a game that they drew. Messi didn't really have an impact in the game that he played, and they drew as well. Already saying that Ronaldo is the better player, and it's one game in for both players. All right. Say if Ronaldo scores more goals, but Argentina's team goes further, who's the better player then? He's the better goal scorer. Yeah, I'll say that. I'd probably be the better goal scorer. But then who would be better? You can't really say that Ronaldo's the better player just based on one performance where they drew. You know, I'm saying that he can carry his Portugal team, but Messi can't carry Argentina. I don't know the reasons why Messi wasn't performing, but Messi was trying to do stuff, and the rest of the team, didn't seem to do a great deal, in my opinion. And yeah, I am a Messi fan. I'm not the biggest Ronaldo fan. Ronaldo's a fantastic player. Messi's a fantastic player. It's just on the style of play and how they play as a footballer. That is why I prefer Messi. But Ronaldo's had a fantastic impact on this tournament already. Scoring a hat-trick, a penalty, his shot that got deflected by De Gea into his own net, and then the free kick that he scored as well. That might be his first free kick that he scored for Portugal. What a time to do it as well, when they're 3-2 down after Spain. Diego Costa had a brilliant impact on this game. Scored one goal. Who scored the second goal? I'm going to have to look at this actually. Who scored the second goal for Spain? Was it Diego Costa? I can't actually remember. Hold on. Diego Costa. It was. Yeah, it was Diego Costa. Sergio Busquets headed it down to him. I remember it now, and he tapped it in. And then Nacho, absolute screamer. Probably could be one of the goals of the tournament already. Absolutely magnificent goal by him. We move on. France versus Australia. I've spoke about it a little bit already. Boring. Absolutely boring. And it was really... France were lucky. And I think luck is not a criticism. Luck is not a criticism. You have to have luck to win tournaments, as well as the quality. But the quality of players they have, and you put them against Australia, for the majority of this match, looked the better team. They were passing the ball better. They were getting into better positions and stuff like that as well. They were playing the footballing way better than France were a lot of the time. But France just had that little bit of quality and luck that got them over the line in this game. But Australia, actually, I was pulling for Australia because I thought this would be actually really quite something to just, bring France down a notch. And, that would have been quite good. But Pogba scored a good goal as well. Maybe it might set the tournament alight for him. Didn't think Griezmann was that great. Didn't have much of an impact. But again, I think France played a little bit of a different system. If you'd have, like they have in previous years, when you have Giroud and Griezmann, that seems to work really, really well. Instead, they brought Griezmann on. They took Griezmann off. Giroud came on, and Fekir came on, and someone else, I think, did Pogba come off? I don't know who came off. Anyway, 2-1, quite standard for them. Now, the result that I'm most gutted about already was Peru versus Denmark. Peru, Oh my God, I really do feel for you. I honestly do. Because that was the epitome of doing everything right up until putting it in the back of the net. Denmark scored a good goal, and it was a very good counter-attacking goal to win 1-0. But Peru, oh, Peru. Like, honestly, they could have been out of sight within the first half. They were excellent going forward. They just couldn't put it in the back of the net. It was awful to see, it really was. But you just hope that maybe they can put it together in the next game for them. But a very good victory for Denmark. That actually sets them on their way quite nicely. Argentina versus Iceland. Iceland, again, this tournament, they are a brick-solid foundation and will frustrate any team that they come up against. They really, really will. They contained Argentina and that all-star attack very, very well. Angel Di Maria, good player. Aguero, great player. Messi, in my opinion, one of the greatest players of all time. They had so many opportunities here, but they were snuffed out by Iceland. Iceland got themselves a good goal as well. Finishes 1-1. Argentina haven't started very well, but not every team Argentina come up against will be as organised as Iceland, whereas Iceland have put themselves in a good place right now where they will frustrate people. Their fans are absolutely magnificent and loud as hell, and this is just on TV. I don't know what it's like with actual live being there. This could, two teams that have either Argentina have got to turn it up for the next game. Iceland have kind of just got to be doing what they do and score goals when they can. But yeah, it was a frustrating game to watch as well because you're wanting to see action-packed football, and Argentina, in my opinion, in some ways were trying to do that, but in other ways they did not play well as a team. They are good going forward and stuff like that on paper, but as a team they do not play well right now, and that's kind of been a little bit of a theme for Argentina in the last good few years. Somehow they made it to the World Cup final, 2014, but they are lacking in quality service to their forward line, and it didn't work in this game. And the final game was Croatia versus Nigeria, and Croatia absolutely smashed it, 2-0. Croatia were clinical. Croatia didn't even have to really get out of the parking gear. They just had to go a little bit above that, and Nigeria just didn't bring anything to the party. Nigeria was set up in a weird way. I don't know, it looked to me like they were playing players out of position. I'm trying to think. Iwobi, I think, was playing out wide, and it's like he's not an out wide player in my opinion. You got players like Musa and Iheanacho that I don't think they started. They started with Ighalo, who used to play for Watford, and I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, you've got pace and you've got power in players like Iheanacho and Musa, and you're not using it. You've absolutely got to use it, and they just didn't. And maybe until late on when they brought players on, but even then, it just, I don't know. They just weren't. They didn't use their quality that they should have in the right ways, and whether that's just the limitations of the manager that they've got, I don't know. But Croatia barely had to try in this game, and they absolutely smashed it really, really well. And so far this tournament, it looks like it's going to be an action-packed tournament, a tournament of penalties, a tournament where VAR is actually doing a good job in my opinion. All right, I think there's one questionable one where that Mark Lawrenson was complaining about. Talking about Mark Lawrenson, oh my God. Mark Lawrenson is just a terrible commentator. Like, I didn't like him on Match of the Day. I wish he wouldn't commentate games because he sounds like he doesn't want to be there. Lee Dixon, his analysis is just like, so what do you think of that defensive piece? Yeah, it's good. Oh, that's good insight, that Dixon. Yeah, really, really good. You've got some really good pundits. The female pundits are doing really, really well. Aluko, and I can't remember the name of the other one. That's quite bad. But they're doing exceptional work, really, really well. Bilic, always love Bilic as a pundit. I really, really do. Roy Keane, standard. I mean, standard Roy Keane. He's just going to slate teams, even if they won like 10-0. He'd still slate a team. But I'd never want to hear Mark Lawrenson ever commentate ever again. It was painful. I think I actually turned the volume down and put some like music on in the background because he was just annoying to listen to. He really, really was just miserable all the time. Now, games we've got going on today, not going to give predictions, but we've got some good games. Costa Rica versus Serbia, which is kicking off in an hour from now. And then you've got Brazil versus Switzerland. That should be a good game, but that's at 7 o'clock. This is in the wrong order. I don't know why that is. Oh, it's in group order. Then 1 o'clock it's Costa Rica versus Serbia. At 4 o'clock it's Germany versus Mexico, and I think that could be an excellent game. And then at 7 o'clock, it's Brazil versus Switzerland. Again, another set of excellent games. So, we've got some action-packed games today, and I'm loving it so far. I'm going to try and make some more World Cup videos as well, just talking about the games. But I don't want to necessarily do like a game-by-game one, because I don't have the time to do them at the moment. But yeah, if you like this video, please do like it and let me know in the comments. Let me know any of your thoughts about the World Cup so far. How do you feel about VAR? What are your thoughts on the results so far? And most importantly, who do you think is going to win the entire thing? Let me know in the comments below if you please. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do like it if you have enjoyed it and subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you once again, and I will catch you later.